Another cloudy weather day. I don't think it'll rain today anyways, just by the looks of it. And what did I read today? How about this one? Are people in Canada afraid to fly in things such as passenger drones? It's kind of interesting here. This one says, flying taxis, drones spark high hopes and safety worries among Canadians. Canadians feel both optimism and concern over the prospect of flying cars and drones whizzing between remote communities and above city blocks. A new report says the Lager study commissioned by Transport Canada found residents hold a broadly positive attitude towards so-called advanced air mobility, which refers to both drones and electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Drones, larger, typically human-piloted cousins. Despite limited knowledge of the futuristic transport mode, respondents like advanced air mobility's potential for search and rescue, firefighting, medical use, and other critical services, the survey showed comfort with those three use of technologies in urban areas hovered at around 80%. Surveying inspections of power lines, for example, and cargo shipment also had overwhelming support. Only transport of people rather than things notched below 50% in favor. I think that sentiment is true, just from the things I've heard anyways. It seems like a lot of people are okay with using a drone, for example, to capture video or to transport something small and all that, but as soon as you talk about would you be willing to be a passenger on it, a lot of people are just terrified versus something like, just say, like a helicopter or something like that. And people seem to be more, I guess, confident in riding stuff like that. And it also says here, quote, if we are talking about emergencies, then it's a no-brainer. We're going to save lives and put out fires, but when it comes to transportation, it's a no, one participant told the pollsters. Further concerns over safety, affordability, environmental impact, and privacy tempered enthusiasm for the aerial vehicles. It's kind of funny with that thought too, where they're saying if you could use it to save lives and so forth. You guys remember, I had that situation where I could have potentially used a drone to find a missing person to save their life, but there were ignorant police officers and stuff that actually didn't understand the drone laws. But you would think in that situation, you would say, okay, if you could potentially save a life, let's do it, for example. But in a lot of cases, people don't actually do that. The outlook on advanced air mobility in Canada is a complex blend of optimism and concern, the report stated. Issues such as the safety and privacy risks associated with drone use, the environmental footprint of AAM operations, and the readiness of autonomous functions are especially significant worries. More than half of the respondents had reservations around safety and potential crashes. Well over one-third pointed to security threats and privacy fears. And between a quarter and a third highlighted prices, noise pollution, and the impact on the environment. It's kind of interesting just to hear that, because in many ways you could say things like a traditional manned aircraft would be absolutely no difference in that regard when it comes to topics like privacy, for example. There's that one story I still remember, actually. There were police officers or something like that, and they used their telephoto cameras, really expensive high-powered ones, and they were being perverts. Like, they were actually spying on someone per se that was, I guess, half naked on the balcony and so forth. Like, in that case, you're gonna have people that abuse things like the tech and so forth, but it makes me wonder, why is it always only things like the drone that people are concerned in that regards? I mean, your concern about stuff like that should be true for everything as well, shouldn't it? And I guess, will other places be the ones to innovate in this space first? Because it says in the US, electric air taxis will be cleared for the skies by 2028, according to a regulatory timeframe laid out by the Federal Aviation Administration last July. Some manufacturers have 2025 as their target, such as Silicon Valley's Archer Aviation and Joby Aviation. The whirly machines carry the promise of delivering people and goods across congested urban and suburban areas and between nearby cities. But the headwinds around technology, regulation, and investment remain, with Canada lagging behind some of its peers on policy. And whether aerial vehicles can move beyond a sleek slice of the ultra-rich and the medical and cargo niches in the near term remains up in the air. Now let's see who, I guess, goes out ahead on this. And again, with that thought, here, it seems like when it comes to drones, it's okay for officials or a big company to use it. When a regular person uses it, it's the end of the world. And then how about this one? This one says, Greek drones check violations of public's right to access beaches. The Greek Ministry of Economy and Finance announced on Monday that the first drone inspections have begun to identify violations of rules governing use of the coast and beaches, including public right of access. The ministry's new strategy includes strict rules and intensive controls to ensure citizens free access to the beaches. the transparent use of public property, the protection of the environment, the upgrading of the tourist product, and the respect and safety of bathers, the ministry said on May 25th. The first drone flights took place on May 24th at the beaches at Pevkuri and Polychrono in the region of Halkidiki, northern Greece, where there have been many complaints about access, said the ministry. I wonder what they mean by that. Is it, for example, people just taking up the space and saying, nope, you can't enter here because, I don't know, we took it first, that type of thing? It says, in addition to drone flights, the ministry will use satellite images, citizens' testimonies through the free app MyCoast, where they can file complaints, and on-spot audits organized by the ministry in collaboration with Real Estate Service, the Independent Authority of Public Revenue, police and prosecution authorities, and municipalities. It makes me wonder there, is it legal, for example, to fly drones around beaches? Because you guys remember over the past few days, there were all those stories of telling people to stay away from beaches in certain parts of the world.
Today we show the city of Vancouver, the government of so-called Canada, that we stand with Rafah. All eyes on Rafah. Hands off 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 Rafah. Gaza's health systems are on the verge of collapse with limited medical supplies and fuel due to the Zionist entity's aid blockade. Rafah's only operating hospital has no units left, taking fuel shortages, and no fuel or ambulances to transfer the aid workers to the hospital.
All right, see you guys later.